But let's go ahead and get started. We may have people filtering in and out, but again, thank you for joining today. I know we're towards the last of the conference, so I appreciate you all hanging in there and jumping in today. My name is Sam Butterfield, and I'm with the company GoReact. We've been working with Jarek and the SLO conference for a few years now, so we're grateful for the chance to be back and for the opportunity to see everybody. My background, just to give some just introductions as well as some context to the week that I've just gotten through. So I have been with GoReact for about 5 years, and I'm actually just getting back from a conference. So we had some layovers last night due to some winter storms. And so I actually didn't get in this morning. I didn't get home until about 5 in the morning. So I'm a little delirious today, but so if I stumble on my words or if I fall asleep halfway through, I apologize. Just somebody yell at me or something. But no, I'm really excited about the opportunity to jump in. We just got back from a really fun K-12 conference, actually, which is a new step for us here at GoReact. We've been around for about 10 to 12 years. Let me make sure. Okay. But yeah, we've been around for about 10 to 12, I think 12 years technically. And most of our work has all been done through our higher ed partners. And so this is kind of the first year that we're alongside of higher ed. We're also kind of starting work within along with that K-12 in terms of teacher development and helping support those practices as well. This session itself is titled Bridging the Gap Between Knowledge and Practice. For total disclosure, this will be kind of more focused on the platform and the services that we provide here at GoReact. If that's not something that you're looking for, we understand. And if you want to hop off and see something else, totally get it. But we are excited to share what we do, what we've done with with programs. Some of your programs may already be using GoReact or may have access to it. And if not your program specifically, there's a good chance we work within your campus at somewhere, as we do a lot of work at individual college level as well as full site-wide licenses as well. So without further ado, let me give a brief explanation. I'm going to share my screen and then we'll kind of jump into introduction of our platform and kind of talk about our bridging the gap purposes today. Look okay? Perfect. Thank you. All right. So again, my name is Sam Butterfield. I've been with GoReact for about 5 years. I have 2 little ones. My wife and I have a 5-year-old boy and a 3-year-old little girl. We're all running around the house, so forgive me as we kind of work from home. I'm sure you'll hear the little giggles and possibly and probably the cries in the background. But it's been fun. I've actually come from the K-12 world. I taught high school for a few years, and then I got into the tech sales side of things. So I have about 10 years of experience in kind of the education sector. And as I mentioned, about 5 years here at GoReact with that left. My favorite thing about GoReact is this is kind of our main focus of our service. Everything that we'll look at today is built around the idea between bridging the gap between knowledge and practice. We work with about 650 different universities across the United States as well as globally, and we're continuing to grow that number as we expand kind of that search outside of the US. But the majority of programs that are using GoReact are doing so for a few reasons. Some of just like the key basic reasons: empowering confident skills. So taking all of the knowledge that they're learning about in the classroom and allowing them to provide more opportunities for self-reflection on their practice. So practice those things that they're learning, practice the soft skills that accompany that, as well as showcasing the practical side of it, or the practice side of their skills, as well as creating a simple and efficient process for students to record, access, and interact with that practice. So allowing them, making it as easy as possible for them to work with their own videos. Video's been something that we've been doing with for a long time. If you follow sports, I know they've been using videos to analyze performance for decades. And education has been doing the same, especially within the last probably 5 years or so, as online has becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and hybrid has become more prominent. Video has become a necessity. But we've been doing it beyond that when everything was kind of traditional, where video still has a very prominent place and very powerful spot within providing awareness for student practice and skill development. And then the last thing, just connecting students with their peers and instructors to build knowledge and trust. That's a big piece to what we'll talk about here in a second, of providing that awareness. Students need to be able to see themselves, see their practice alongside a trusted relationship with a coach or an instructor, allowing them to grow and understand what they can improve on and what they're doing well. And that was the idea behind GoReact. So GoReact was created actually in a communications course at a school here at BYU. So we're based out of Utah. But the idea was, well, how do we combine those two things? How do we combine the opportunity for students to record, whether it's a public speech, whether it's a lesson in the classroom, whether it's a skill assessment and nursing course, whatever it looks like, how do we get students to be able to leverage video and side by side be able to provide them feedback, so I can give them context, and I can pause a video and I can say, hey, we need to work on this, or hey, you did this really well. And thus kind of GoReact was born through that idea. And it's come a long way throughout the years, but it's all been based on those two things. So the main kind of prominent space behind it was people need two things for that development. Number one, as I mentioned, the awareness, which comes from video. Research says that video itself is one of the best ways to build awareness. That's one of the things we hear all the time is, well, video's scary. I don't want to see myself, which it is. It can be an intimidating process, but when leveraged correctly and when leveraged with kind of safety and trust, it can be such a powerful process to bring awareness to a student who is practicing their skills. And then input. Authentic formative assessment from an expert increases the speed of which students can develop their skills. So allowing them to really get feedback from somebody who's been there, somebody who's helping them learn these concepts, as well as from their peers as well, who are also learning kind of these same subjects as well. This was, there we go, sorry. So this is Bill Baker. He was the one who thought of the idea at the time and asked around and eventually, with help from the college, created what is now GoReact. As I mentioned, it's kind of built and grown throughout the years. But this is one thing that he had mentioned is in looking back at the reasons why. So he said, anything that can be recorded for feedback can use GoReact seamlessly. But the greatest achievement of the software by far is how it connects teachers and students. Without doubt, this technology's ability to build trust and understanding between people who teach and between the people who teach and people who learn is helping students everywhere gain the skills they need to change the world for the better. All right, so we'll jump into what it actually looks like today, but I just wanted to give you some context of kind of where that was coming from. So when it comes to, there we go. When it comes to bridging the gap between knowledge and skill, there are a lot of different ways to do that, but again, just kind of focusing on what we're able to do inside of GoReact to kind of help through that process. And then we'll kind of walk through this for about 15 minutes. And I want to leave a lot of time for questions or kind of diving deeper into anything that anyone that's here would want to jump into further. So as we jump into this, just a quick explanation of kind of main kind of access points. What we're going to be looking at today is GoReact.com. So GoReact in its simplest form. A big thing to notice though is GoReact is actually used primarily through your LMS. So the majority of our partners, higher ed, that are using GoReact are accessing it through either Canvas or Blackboard, Moodle, Schoology, D2L. So whatever kind of LMS that you're utilizing it, we've tried to create a very seamless and easy process for you to just plug and play, so you don't have to learn something new. There is a lot of technology fatigue coming from kind of 2020 and everything going online and then coming back, and so understanding that, we want to make it as easy as possible to use, both for the instructor side and the admin side, as well as for the students. The whole premise behind GoReact is to make it easy for a student to jump in to do the recording of their skill assessment, again, in a variety of different ways. So every program has obviously the knowledge side of what they're teaching, but also the skill side that they're teaching as well. And so trying to make it easy for students to jump in and do that practice. This is what that would look like inside of the platform, either way, whether you're going through LMS or going through GoReact.com, the functionality will be the same. So with that said, I want to show you just a couple of things. For students, students can use whatever they have. This is hardware agnostic. They don't need to do or use anything specific in terms of hardware, or there's no downloads or anything like that. It's just a web-based platform. Most students honestly will use their phones when they're recording, but obviously, again, they can use tablets, laptops, whatever they have available to them. To do so, all they would have to do is either click on the assignment in their LMS that has GoReact attached to it, or in this case, log into GoReact, but they'll start the assignment. They'll give it a title, and we'll do presentation 1. It will pop up any recording instructions for them. Again, and they just follow the steps, so they can record directly into GoReact, so they don't have to worry about saving or storing up room on their personal device, or they can upload a video if they're not connected to the internet where they would be recording. There's also links to YouTube and Zoom, so they can pull those over as well. But again, just following the steps, we've tried to make this as easy as possible. So the software will do the work for them in terms of checking and making sure everything looks and sounds okay. And then they're in. So for students, all they have to do is hit record, and they can set their laptop down. Now, if this is being used for more of a presentation, then they do have a few options on the recording side itself. You'll notice here at the top, they're able to attach. So if there's any supporting documentation that needs to be attached to a specific video, they can easily do that here by selecting that paperclip. Down here at the bottom as well, they're able to share their screen, so they can pull up resources, PowerPoints, documentation, anything that they want to talk through in their presentation. They can do that as well through sharing their screen. They also have the ability to add multiple cameras. So if you are needing multiple angles for a specific use case, this gets used a lot within like nursing programs that need to be able to evaluate and see everything clearly. And so you can easily add additional cameras so that you can have them pointed in different directions and showing kind of every part of that. There's other features like closed captioning, blurred backgrounds, things like that. But just wanted to show kind of the primary idea behind the ease of recording. So as soon as they're done, after they're done kind of practicing their skills, they're able to hit finish, and that will process the media for them and automatically post that into their assignment, ready to be viewed. Now, as the instructor, as the student, this is kind of where the power comes in, because there's a lot of kind of ways to record video on your phone, through Dropbox, through YouTube. Students are using video in a number of different ways. So this part isn't necessarily kind of the main idea behind it, but obviously what you're doing with that video. So if I click on any of the videos that have been submitted, then it will automatically pull up that video and it will pull up the feedback form as well. So here's where I can really work with that individual, and I can give them feedback. I can comment all over their video itself. The video itself will play similar to what you're used to: pause, rewind, fast forward, captions, etc., as we mentioned. But here on the right, so if I want to give a comment, if I want to stop the student, I can easily come down here where it says add a comment, and I can say, great introduction, clear arguments being laid out. Now you'll notice a couple of things. You'll notice that the video automatically pauses for me anytime that I, as the instructor, or the student is creating a comment. This is so we don't have to worry about missing anything as you're engaging with the student's work. And you'll also notice that the video is time-stamped as soon as that comment is being started. So it will, as soon as I'm ready, I can hit enter. The video will automatically resume for me. And then I have my time-coded feedback at 32 seconds with that feedback here. It's also hyperlinked, so I can click on any of these comments and it will take me back to 5 seconds before that comment was made. This is where the awareness really comes in. So I can, as a student, as I'm going through and I can see, all right, I can see that my instructor said that I had a great introduction, maybe gave me some feedback there, then I can click on that and I could see myself side by side with that feedback. Now, all of these comments are also and you can interact with them. So for example, if I wanted to say, hey, try doing blah, blah, blah to improve the hook here. So if I wanted to prompt them with something, if I wanted them to put something in practice or try something out, they could actually reply to that comment. And in this particular case, they could use a video of them trying that specific thing out. So with languages, for example, if I'm having my student present in their language that they're learning, I can jump in and I can do video comments and I can say it's pronounced like this, or this is how we say that. And they're able to then reply with another video of them practicing the pronunciation, practicing the intonation that they're doing. So it's a great way to have kind of that video on video practice side by side that you can really work with those students and have them, again, work with each other on their skill set as well. The other thing that a lot of people use outside of the video are the audio comments as well, to be able to just kind of talk to the students and allow them to better kind of understand the point that you're wanting to get across. One of the most powerful tools for for both sides, but more for kind of the instructor, are what we call these markers. So markers are customizable kind of bits of information. So these are really, really cool and unique to use with students that you're working with specific goals with. So whether they're standards that they're working towards and needing to meet, whether it's a one-on-one, hey, talk to me about some of the things that you're wanting to work on. You can create markers for all types of different things. For these particular examples, I have some standards that some of our teacher ed partners will use. But again, you can totally customize these. So the nice thing is, as I see things, as I hear things, I can click on those markers. If I see this standard being met, I would flag it with that particular marker, showing my student that, hey, you did well here. And it will pre-populate any additional comments or feedback that I've given. I can also go through and I can reply to these, or I can edit those, and I can give additional context to the marker that I've selected. But again, these are great data points for you kind of on the back end to see progress throughout time and to show progress throughout time for each of your students, as well as to help identify, again, those personal goals with each student. And more on the assessment side, if this is more of a formal assessment, you do have the ability to put in a rubric or a form. If it is a rubric, obviously you can build these out. These are customizable. You could go through and you can score them, or check boxes, free response, etc. A lot of our partners will use this as an opportunity to kind of steer the learning process for the students. So again, as they're practicing their skills, then I could have a form here that's filled out, or a form here for them to fill out, having them answer specific questions based on their their skill assessment that they've just done. And so it could be a free response kind of form that you have them fill out. It can be more of that rubric, but you do have this customizable form here that you're able to leverage as well within the system. Now, this is an example of just an asynchronous assignment. And so an asynchronous video that has been submitted. Outside of just the asynchronous views, you also have the ability to do it live as well as in groups, which is a powerful tool for leveraging kind of those conversations, that group work within a course. To show you what that would look like, you can, similar to what like Zoom would look like, you have the ability to have up to 9 cameras log in at the same time. So it's specifically more used for small group work, or again, within maybe a lab where you need multiple cameras set up. But this is a great way to have students have conversations, to practice scenarios together, to give group projects or to do work within a group project, and to have that recorded and saved in an area where they can interact with each other and that you can interact with them. In terms of feedback, in terms of interaction, it will be the same. You'll notice I still have my markers. I have the feedback options available as well. I can build out my rubrics, etc. So the feedback area is going to be the same across the board. This is just a different use case within the system. Outside of just kind of our standard assignment, which are some of the examples that we just showed, you also have the ability to kind of flip those roles and to share resources out with the students. And this is great for kind of more of the analysis side of things. So to be able to show, hey, okay, I want you to watch this video, or I want you to look at this document, or listen to this, and I want you to analyze it. So tell me what they're doing well, or tell me just based on kind of what we're reviewing in our course at that time. They can go through and they can analyze videos. They can use them as more reflective pieces if they want to do that. Or, hey, take a look at this. So this would be an example of, I'm going to switch courses here for a second. We'll go into our nursing course, but it could be a way to share best practices. So showing, hey, this is how we start an IV. So go ahead and watch this video as the course, or have this video as kind of a reference back to as we're practicing this particular skill. A lot of people will use it for again, sharing specific video analysis within their programs, whatever that looks like. Again, functionality is the same. Within this, a lot of times they'll create markers that will, again, guide what the student is supposed to be looking for to help them support that. So they're not just having a blank slate, giving random comments, which obviously they can do that as well. But this is a way to be able to say, hey, look for the appropriate hand placement, or look for any sterile breaks specifically. So when you see a sterile break, I want you to be able to flag that in the video to make sure that you understand that concept. So again, a great way in terms of bridging that gap between the knowledge of, hey, I know what a sterile break is, but can I actually identify it within when it takes place? Or can I show, or can I identify it when it takes place in my own practice? So a way to really dive into the actual physical practice of the skill and their knowledge that they've gained in the classroom. And then the last one, which is very unique assignment type, but one of my favorites, is what we call our stimulus assignment. So stimulus is designed to get more of a reactionary style view of the student. So a lot of people will use it for, it was kind of created for our language program so that they can use it for interpretation practice. But it's kind of also been adopted by a lot of other programs that will use it for mock scenarios, to reactions to a specific scenario, kind of interview practice, different things like that. But the idea behind it is that you can select a video or a prompt for your students to view. They can also select their own prompt if you want to open it up for them. but then it will also record their reaction or record their response to that when they see that prompt. So this is an example. Many of you might know Sam Farley. He still works here at GoReact. He worked in California previously and now is currently serving as our director of sales. But this is an example of him that is using the stimulus assignment to interpret a TED Talk in this particular example. But again, you can select the prompt or you can have them select the prompt, but then you are seeing kind of the reaction side by side with that. Going back to nursing, we see this a lot with moving away from just kind of paper and theory and into what do you actually do in these scenarios? So one of our partners just used it and had a great response on. He used to have them write a paper about the asphyxiation of the lungs, but I probably said that horribly wrong. But instead of having them write the paper, he actually found a video online, and he shared it with them in a stimulus assignment and said, all right, what do you do as you walk into the classroom and you see your patient, their chest is moving like this? What do you do in this scenario? And he said the coolest part of the assignment is on the paper, they would go through the steps and they would tell you, okay, this is what we need to do. But in this scenario, it again, with kind of bridging that gap, it allowed them to place themselves in more of a real life scenario. And you notice that none of them actually did the first thing that you would actually need to do as a nurse, which is call for help. And so those types of things that you might not get from just having them write a report or an analysis on a particular subject, having them dive into kind of a virtual reality of what's happening and allowing them to really put themselves in the shoes and practice the skills that they're learning about. Since then, his scores with that particular subject, he's noticed has increased greatly, and he's found a lot of those simple things that he didn't realize that the students were missing before. All right. We're about halfway done with our session, and I'm always a fan of leaving plenty of times for questions as well as giving time for a break if we don't have more. But so I want to kind of pause there with just that context. I know I've mentioned it a few times, but everything that we do is trying to make it as easy as possible to so that you can focus in on the teaching and learning side of things and not the technology side of things. We don't want you to have to worry about how this works or issues or anything like that. And more just on teaching those skills and helping them develop that. So with that said, I'll keep my screen shared, but I want to open it up for questions. If there's any questions, anything you want to dive deeper into. Again, I've talked a lot. I appreciate your patience as we close out on the day or as we're getting there. But I want to turn the time over to answering any questions if there are. If not, we can kind of go from there. But yeah, Etney, I see you have a question.
Can you use so we use Canvas now, and then can GoReact, is there a way to add that to Canvas? I thought there was, but now we have studio use. Can we add both of those?
Yeah, so great question. So Canvas Studio is essentially Canvas's direct kind of video production side of things. But you can still absolutely use both within an assignment within a course. To add, I'll pull up Canvas really quick just to show you how that can be done. Now it does need to be set up the first time if it's not already set up within your Canvas org. And this is the same not just for Canvas, but for any of the LMSs. It needs to be set up originally. It works through an LTI integration. And so we typically will just work through the Canvas admin or the LMS admin to get that set up. But once it's set up, you'll see that GoReact lives at the assignment level. So anytime that you're creating a new assignment, The only thing that you really need to change based on what you're already doing, so assignment name, points, you'll assign all of that. But here on submission type, this is kind of the key part to use GoReact. You'll want to select external tool, and then you'll want to search for GoReact. That's really all you'll need to do. Again, if you don't see that as an option in your external tool links, it just means it hasn't been set up or that you don't have access to it yet. So for either of those, we just need to get in contact with your LMS admin. We typically suggest on all of the LMSs that you're using this with to load this tool in a new tab. That will give you more space essentially when you're working with the students and their videos. You don't have to do that. It will still function without it, but we suggest for best practice to select load it in the new tab, and then you can save that. So that's really all you have to do different from any of the other assignments that you create, is just to make sure you select external tool and then find GoReact there. Once you're in there, and again, this will be the same workflow for any LMS, but your students would then log in. Let me go back to my dashboard. Your students would click into their course. They would click onto an assignment, and if it is a GoReact assignment, it will automatically launch GoReact for them. Canvas will create their accounts for them, so the student doesn't need to do anything. In most cases, they don't even know that they're going to a different page. Everything is accessed directly through their LMS. So when they click on an assignment, it will automatically launch GoReact for them. It will show them any of the videos that they've already submitted, as well as, this is the instructor side. So I'll see my ungraded and I see my graded. For students, they'll see mine, so my videos, and they'll see peer. So if there are any peer videos that have been opened up for them to be able to view, they'll see those videos here and can access those. And then the workflow will look exactly the same like we talked about. So we can, it'll prompt them with a title for that. They can record their video. It will check their camera and their microphone. Once everything's set up, again, they're just following the prompts. There's not a whole lot of training when it comes to the student access. They're just following prompts along with their access. When they're done, they hit finish. And then it will post it. They can trim it if they want. So if they messed up the beginning, but they didn't want to stop it, they just restarted, they can always trim that video as well. But then that's posted in Canvas. So I can go through and I can see that. I can add comments. The nice thing with the LMS integration as well is if I am using a rubric, then when I fill that rubric out and I post it, it will push that score into my gradebook for me. But great question. So yes, there are, you can use both Studio as well as GoReact within the Canvas system.
All right, that makes sense. I put something in the chat. Did you see it?
I've just popped up the chat. So I am understanding that the college site must have an account with GoReact before it can be used. Not necessarily. It doesn't need to have a license, I would say, because some of our programs use like a college license or a campus license. Other programs will use student pay directly. And in that case, you can still set it up without the college having a license. But yes, the college will need to allow GoReact to be set up in the LMS. So with that, we would work with them. We'd send them the instructions, help them get everything set up, and then you would be able to access it, even whether or not the campus has a license or not.
So is it free?
It's not free, so it's a subscription product. Typically, we typically set up annual licenses, but you also have the option to do a student pay license where the campus doesn't pay anything and the program doesn't pay anything. Your students would treat it as a textbook, and it is I think $31.99 right now for a course, for access for that course, or there's annual licenses as well that start at $66 per user. There's a lot of volume discounts or other discounts that are available. That's just kind of the top that you would ever pay for an annual license.
Okay. Okay, understandable. So, and could you leave me your contact information, please? That'd be great.
Absolutely. I'll put it in the chat. So again, my name is Sam Butterfield, and my email is sbutterfield@goreact.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Great question. And if you're not using GoReact, but you're interested, we'll take a look at your campus because there may be somebody who's already using it. And if that's the case, then again, that could qualify you for additional discounts based on their volume as well. So we'll take a look at all of that. If anybody has specific questions on getting access for your program, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to just have a non-stress conversation on what options there are for that.
Perfect. Great.
You bet. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Anything else that you want to dive deeper into? We have about 20 more minutes scheduled. But again, happy to just answer any questions, or we can take a break.
I just saw that FCC has GoReact, but where is it?
FCC has GoReact, but are you looking at
The chat. Is this Fresno? Is FCC Fresno City College?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. If you go to your Canvas and then go setting, and then there are some hubs, and one of them is called app, and you can find it under the app.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Tomoko. Thanks for posting that. Any other questions? Anything else that you'd like to see? And if you are using GoReact, I'm happy to dive deeper into anything specific that you were looking to learn.
Again, where can we find you had told me where to find, I don't see the comments. Somebody had said there was a message in Canvas. Where do you find it, you said? For FCC?
So FCC has the app already set up. You should see it in the app tab when you're setting up a new assignment. When you click on external tool, GoReact should be there already set up. If you don't see it, it just means that it hasn't been opened up for you to be able to see it specifically or for your program. So we just need to have a Canvas admin open that up for you so you can see that.
Okay.
Go to your Canvas and see the course, and then the course setting, and you will see course details, sections, navigation, apps, future options. On the top, there are tabs listed there. In the middle, it says apps. If you click that, you are able to find GoReact. That's how I found. I don't know how to make it use it for my class yet, but I'm trying to figure out how to make it utilized for my assignment.
And Susie mentioned as well that Sue Yang or John Wilson can help you find it as well. As I mentioned, it may be just a matter of making sure that it's open for you, or it may just be a matter of pointing you in the right direction. All right, everybody. Anything else? Any last comments, questions? I know it's Friday. I know if you're like me, you're tired and ready for the weekend. So if there's nothing else, then I will give you a few minutes break before. I believe there's one last kind of closing recap. Is that correct? So I will give you a little bit of time before that to run to the restroom or grab some water or anything like that. Again, unless there's something else. But thank you, everybody. Thank you again for spending time here today, and appreciate you jumping in and joining the session. My email is in the chat, so feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help answer any questions, schedule more training, get you started. Anything that I can help with, I'm happy to do that. So again, thank you for joining. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye, thank you.